Welcome to McAndT's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. I'm Joe Ticotsky, and I'm down here in New Haven, Connecticut.
And I'm Evan McFarlane. I'm up here in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, Canada.
And this is our 6th episode overall, which I think if you told us 8 months ago that we'd last 6 episodes, I don't know what the betting line on that would have been, but and then this is our 2nd Zoom episode, which I thought the first one went pretty well, so we'll see what happens this time, but it's a neat way to do things. What's going on up in Canada there?
Well, Canada, I guess, a little different than here. New Brunswick's doing pretty well until the past few days. There's been some cases popping up, but we've kind of moved into the phase that's allowing us to do a few more things. I finally get to hang out, I guess, with my parents because we had the one bubble family going, and with my sister having the grandchildren in the family, I kind of got shunned out.
Nice.
So I'm allowed to go and hang out with them, and we're kind of you're back to hanging out normally with your friends and family, your close friends and family. They're advising us not to open our bubble too far, but it's nice to get some different people around the house and kind of interact again.
Yeah. We're a little bit behind you guys, but hopefully we'll start kicking it into gear a little bit. You like the background here?
That's nice. I need to figure that out.
Of the way so everyone can see the full. Look at that. Yeah.
I'll have one of the sponsors in mind soon once we get somebody to kind of pay up the money we deserve.
It is our budget. All right, we checked last time, and also if you notice, I've got my St. Andrews hat on, and
I might as well throw the Yale cap on, but to top that off, here's just for your fans down there. I mean, I got this last time up, so I'd support that for today's occasion.
That is a classic. I had my Maple Leaf shirt, but I'm just going with the New York Giants shirt in the hope that I don't even want a season this year, but whatever. All right, we checked last time on the attire, so I'm going to ask you: are you going with the khaki shorts today or the black Nike shorts?
I'm actually wearing a pair of cords right now.
Wow, that's
I'm hitting the golf course in about an hour though, so I'll be back into casual dress wear.
Nice. And then the beard check. If you noticed in the last episode, you got rid of yours.
Yeah, and actually my hair was kind of done today. I might be going back to work next week, so I'm less Grizzly Adams looking today.
I tried that poor attempt at a beard that sort of looked like a bad Greg Popovich imitation, and I shaved it off. And of course, since I never grow a beard, now I have all these cuts all over me, and it's like the worst of high school being relived. Now the Dunkin' Donuts update here, which I'm going to see how fancy I can get. There we go.
Whoa.
How about that? Dunkin' Donuts, today is their last free donut Friday, unfortunately. And I went through the drive-through and the other day, and the guy asked me if I wanted a free donut, and I said I can't because I'm diabetic. So and he said, "Oh no, you want a new donut?" And I said, "Free donut." I said, "No." And he said, "We're just trying to give them away." And then of course, as I went to the window and he had no gloves or mask on, I just said, "Just toss the coffee and I'll catch it from here." Now what's going on? Any changes with the good folks at Tim Hortons?
I think they've been handling, can't say what it's like outside of St. Andrews, but in town, it's really good. I mean, your wait times in line have seemed to speed up. And I have noticed when you get stuff in the drive-through, they hand it to you on a tray. So there's no like cross-contaminating, no hands touching hands or anything. So that's kind of nice.
All right, let's get back to what our sponsors told us we had to put on here. Let's see. Get the full screen one. And we're back. Technology is just an amazing thing. We mentioned last time we had a potential sponsor, the McT Bar. So what we're going to do, we didn't get to it last time. I'm going to live on the air. I'm going to try one of these concoctions to see if they're any good. So here are the 3 choices. There's cookie dough, cocoa, or caramel sea salt.
Oh, you can't go wrong with caramel sea salt.
Oh boy.
If they mess that up, then we can't even be part of this. That's foolproof.
There's the label. McT bar. Now, kids, you should read the labels because this has a little bit more saturated fat than it should. Ooh, and they should call it caramel sea chalk. Oh my God. Sorry. No, it's actually good. It's not too bad, and it's keto friendly, as they say. All right, we're going to, since we obviously just yap, and this first segment's going longer, so we're going to save our headlines to the second segment. But we'll finish up the first segment with the phone call. Last time we did the Hall & Oates, and this one is bizarre. It's called the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, and it was a set of Harvard-based sentences that they used to test the audio quality of microphones. So I'm going to call this number. It's 858-651-5050. This is bizarre.
After the dance, they went straight home. The hostess taught the new maid to serve.
Adding fat leads to wrong sums. The show was a flop from the very start.
There was water in the cellar after the heavy rain. They're not listed in the new phone book.
A large size in stockings is hard to sell. The
So-
juice of lemons makes fine punch.
The juice of lemons makes fine punch. I guess when you're testing out your audio equipment, it gives you an idea of like how well perfectly formed sentences sound.
That wasn't taken off our answering machine, was it? Because one of them said your show was a flop from the very start.
The good folks at Harvard, they know us too well. So that's, if you want to call it and you really have nothing, you've watched everything on Netflix, it's 858-651-5050. Yeah, so I'll try to get one of those each time. But all right, we're coming close to the end of the first segment. So we still have our headlines to do, our news of the weird. And coming up after this break, we have a great interview guest that I know you guys will enjoy. We're not going to tell you who it is, so we're going to make you hang around through the commercial.
Sure.
All right, we'll be back after this. It's McAndT's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Welcome back to McAndT's Sports Report for our second segment. If you noticed, Evan and I worked so hard, we had to change in between segments. It's our big, our wardrobe budget has doubled, so we both had to change. For our second segment, our guest was born and raised in our provincial capital of Fredericton, or your provincial capital, Fredericton. I graduated UNB with degrees in kinesiology and education. He's been the director of New Brunswick Golf Association, also known as Golf MB, since September 2009, and they're the official governing body for golf in New Brunswick. Let's welcome Tyson Flynn to the show. Welcome, Tyson.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Okay. Why don't you tell everyone what Golf NB actually is?
Well, it's kind of a loaded question these days, to be perfectly honest with you, in the world of COVID-19. At the end of the day, you kind of hit the nail on the head. We're the governing body of golf of amateur golf in the province of New Brunswick, equivalent to the state and regional golf associations down in the United States. And we work very closely with golf courses in the province, our member courses, our individual golfers, work closely with Golf Canada, the national governing body, predominantly around provincial championships, rules of course rating, handicapping, amateur status, rules of golf, and obviously junior programming and player development initiatives that way. These days in the COVID-19 world, we're providing a lot more support to facilities around guidance of how best to get up and running and providing some best practices and facilitating some conversations with clubs to kind of help them get up and running and be as safe as they possibly can be in the COVID-19 world. In New Brunswick, we're really lucky right now in the fact that golf is, and Evan can attest to this, is pretty darn close to normal right now, shockingly enough, in the world that we live in. New Brunswick's been way ahead of the curve when it comes to cases and getting businesses back up and running. And while we're still not quote unquote normal, it's about as close as I think we could expect to be right about now. And we've done a lot of work along with our partners at the PGA Canada, PGA Atlantic, National Golf Club Owners Associations, and the other provincial golf associations in Golf Canada to try and support clubs and get them up and running and provide them with the best resources they can to be as safe and as effective as possible these days.
Yeah. Now that must have been a little bit of an education for you, having to deal with all the health and sanitary regulations that above and beyond what you used to do.
Yeah, it's an interesting world to navigate right now, to be honest with you. A bit of a blessing and a curse. The province of New Brunswick has been very open in how they've managed this process. They've been very firm in some ways, and they've provided businesses with a lot of latitude in others. So for us, it was a matter of trying to interpret guidelines and interpret, the expectations of government and provide as unified and consistent a voice out to people as we possibly can be. But the province has really put a lot of onus on the facilities to manage their facilities. Obviously golf course operators are the experts in that field. They know their property better than anybody. They know how people can move in and out and where the touch points are and where people congregate and where they don't. So, we are thankful that the province did provide that latitude and has allowed everybody to kind of operate in a different manner. But yeah, it certainly was an education, something very different than what we do on a regular basis. We're happy that we've been able to help. We hope we've been able to help. But kind of happy to be getting a little bit back to normal and starting to look back at championships and player development and growth and development and growing the game that way, which is a little bit more in our wheelhouse, that's for sure.
Now, a question a lot of people ask me when I tell them, so I'm down here in Connecticut, and they always say, how does weather affect the overall golf season in Canada? I heard it starts on Canada Day and ends a week later. Is that incorrect?
Well, it depends on how many toques and how many gloves and mitts people want to wear. Actually,
how early do people typically start golfing?
Well, honestly, in New Brunswick, it really depends on kind of where you are. We run anywhere from, and Evan can certainly attest to this, his home track in St. Andrews is generally one of the first ones to open up in late April, early May, oftentimes. And then we have clubs in the northern part of the province that can be as late as, this week. Now, I think everybody in the province has been open for a couple of weeks now, but this spring has been exceptional. It's actually quite ironic in the fact that we've had 3 really bad springs in a row, and then we had a great one, and we have COVID-19 to deal with. So when everybody could make hay, they're in the process of going, okay, great. I can only put one person on a power card. I got to double up on my cleaning supplies. I can only have half a staff, and I have to run 15-minute time intervals for the first 3 weeks. But golf courses are jammed right now. I don't think there's a tee time to be had anywhere. I know my home track here in Fredericton, they put through something like 2,600 rounds in the first 11 days, which is just astronomical. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So the golf world is, where people are clamoring to get outdoors and get out of their houses and feel a little bit normal. Golf is where they're gravitating to. So while clubs aren't necessarily having the success on maybe the food and beverage side of things and the power cart rentals that they would normally be, I think they're making up for it in tee times and tee time reservations and putting people through the property. So I think there's a real opportunity for golf to capitalize in Atlantic Canada and specifically in New Brunswick for the coming years. If we do it right, I think we might be able to recruit a bunch of new golfers and hopefully a bunch of new golfers for life. And really,
yeah, I was going to get to that, and we're probably going to carry this over to the second segment because it's flowing nice and smoothly. The other thing I noticed, I was reading online some articles about golf during the shutdown, and they said how sales of golf supplies like screens and putting mats were up like 140% from normal. So there's definitely that cabin fever of, and I think most people understood that golf probably would be one of the first to come back. Have you had any issues with people not following the rules the right way, or?
Well, again, like we're kind of at arm's length of how things operate, but I think with anything, obviously, there's going to be people that aren't abiding by the regulations the way that you would want them to, and you're going to have people that are taking it to the complete opposite extreme. That being said, there's nothing that's really come across my desk, or we're not getting inquiries or calls of people saying, wow, Club XYZ is just not doing the right things. Yeah, thank you. Very good point, Evan. Very good point. We've been really lucky that way. I think the golf courses have taken it very seriously. And for the most part, golfers have taken it seriously. Now, the challenge is right now, because New Brunswick has been so successful and we've had such a limited number of cases. I see there was another 2 new ones today, unfortunately, but people are starting to feel a little bit normal and perhaps a little too normal. So we have just had a bit of a scare in the last couple of weeks. We've had a little outbreak in the northern part of the province that's, I think, spooked people and maybe spooked people to the right amount, that it's kind of dialed things back. And I was just talking with a volunteer of ours that said, you leave the golf course, you feel great, you go to Costco, you got to put on a mask, you got to stand 12 feet apart from people, and it's, wow, this world still is very different. So golf provides a real good sense of normalcy and perhaps a sense of it being a little too normal. So I think people are really trying to stretch that and find that fine balance of how loose can I be and how strict do I have to be. So like I said, we've been really fortunate so far, and clubs are doing a great job. Golfers, for the most part, are doing a great job. It's just a matter of keeping it up and staying vigilant.
We're going to take a quick break here, and we're going to give you 3 or 4 more minutes because we had a couple other things to go over. So we'll be back after this break. You're watching McAndT's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Welcome back to McAndT's Sports Report. This is Joe Ticotsky. I'm down in lovely New Haven, Connecticut, USA.
I'm Evan McFarlane. I'm in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, Canada.
Oh, and by the way, I was going to try to do this the last segment. We're getting really high tech here, so check this out. If you could bear with me for a second, the background. Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, how about that?
Was that the new green or the old one, Ev?
That's an old picture. All those trees are gone now.
Okay, well, it looks really nice. We have Tyson Flynn, the Executive Director of Golf MB, with us as a guest. And a couple things I wanted to ask you on the personal side of golf. What would you say is the best part of your golfing game?
The fact that I stand on the golf course. If you're looking at a good part of my golf game, you're going to be looking for a real long time, unfortunately. But I know I have a pile of fun. I enjoy it and really love kind of getting out with people. I've been really lucky in this job to play some great tracks and meet some great friends. So,
what's the best part of Evan's game?
You'll have to ask Evan. I don't think he wants me to tell the one story that I saw him hit a small bucket off a 10 at the Algonquin during our men's am one year. But maybe I did just tell it mistake.
That was many moons ago.
McFarlane golf stories are legendary up there.
I said when I turned pro last year, I never have to have a good round again, so I don't really care.
There you go.
You're like most pros that never play again.
Who's your favorite Canadian golfer?
I'll tell you what. Right now, I'm a big fan of Corey Connors. Right about now, Corey's doing some great things. The golf scene in Canada and the Golf Canada National Program over the last decade or so have done wonders with the game of golf in New Brunswick, or well, I shouldn't say New Brunswick, but in Canada. And I think Corey's doing great things. You saw, early this year, Mackenzie Hughes was within a whisker of winning again. So there's lots of good people out there, but I think Corey's kind of the guy that you really like to root for right now. Monday qualifying, winning golf tournaments. So yeah, really enjoy watching him right now.
I'm an Adam Hadwin fan. I have no idea who he is. I Googled Canadian golfers.
Well, he's got a 59, so.
There you go. All right, we'll finish up with this. If you could play one round of golf with any PGA golfer in the world, who would you choose?
Whew, that's a toughie. I think the obvious is Tiger, just to be able to see that up close and personal and what he's able to do on a golf course. Another guy that might be a little bit off the board that I know is a pile of fun on a golf course because I followed him for a while is Graeme Mcdowell. I watched he and Graeme Dillette play at Cabot Links, a handful of years ago, and he was just a hoot and a half to follow and listen to, and I think he'd just be an absolute ball to play with. So
great.
Awesome.
All right, we'd like to thank Tyson Flynn. We've got to finish up some of our non-sport stuff here on the show. So Tyson, thank you so much for coming on. Perfect time of the year to talk golf, and continue good luck with you and your organization.
Well, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And tee it high and swing hard.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Tyson.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
guys. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.
Well, as we're coming close to the end of another edition of McAndT's Sports Report, let's do our News of the Weird, where we talk about a couple stories that are realistic, that actually happened. So I'll start off. We got two each. A video conference meeting of the Vallejo, California Planning Commission got a little weird on April 20th when Commissioner Chris Platzer announced, "I'd like to introduce my cat." And he was then seen throwing the cat off screen. Later, he was seen drinking a beer during the meeting, and after the meeting ended, they could still hear him making derogatory remarks about the commission. He apologized for his actions and then resigned from the commission.
Wow.
In fact, I hope that doesn't happen with Brad Henderson on any of the same night.
I don't think he has cats.
What do you got?
All right. In Logroño, Spain, an unidentified man pushed the envelope in Spain's stringent lockdown rules, which make an exception for pet owners, who are allowed to go outside briefly with their pets, according to Grey News. The National Police tweeted a photo on April 24th of a man being arrested for sitting on a city bench holding his pet fish in a bowl.
Very good. Very good. And that was where? Spain?
Yeah.
We will now go
break rules.
Spain to Maine. Eliza Watson raises chickens in Gray, Maine, which I think is a little north of Portland. So she's used to seeing foxes nosing around, but as she worked in her garden on April 23rd, the fox didn't run away when she tried to scare it off by hollering. The animal lunged at her, so said, thinking back now, it was quite a mangy, stanky fox. She responded by kicking it, but it kept coming back, so she kept kicking it. Finally, don't mess with her, she grabbed the fox around the neck, and while it fought back, she shoved it into a large pot used for scalding chickens, sealed the lid, and called 911 and then her husband. At the hospital, she received 5 rabies vaccine injections.
Wow.
Only
Don't mess.
All right, one more. What do you have?
Well, this one is not from Maine, but it sounds like it could be. 2 landscapers were charged with DUIs for driving the same vehicle at the same time in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, after police pulled over an SUV that had been reported to be driving recklessly on April 15th. According to police reports, the officer spotted Alfredo Lopez, 24, behind the wheel, but by the time an officer approached the car, he was standing outside it, and his younger brother, Martin Lopez, 20, was in the driver's seat. The younger man had slid over from the passenger seat, put the car in gear, and tried to escape, but the officer pulled him out of the car, the Palm Beach Post reported. Both men, police noted, smelled of alcohol, and both had wet their pants. Neither had a valid driver's license.
A commercial for the adult diaper company.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of this golf course here. There we go. The sponsors want us up there. Okay, as we're getting close to an end, for a music spotlight, let's have a quick one. Ben Folds, who's absolutely phenomenal. Every Saturday night, he does a live apartment requests music thing on YouTube. It's youtube.com/BenFoldsTV, and it's 7 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Atlantic, every Saturday night.
Yeah, I've got one too. This is a band from PEI. I listen to them on Spotify quite a bit. 2 Hours Traffic. You should check them out.
2 Hours Traffic. All right, I will definitely look that up. For a quick charity spotlight, we've been saying you really can't go wrong with food banks anywhere in your area. And I'm going to do our little 10-second. We said we'd stay away from politics, so I'll keep this general. The American Civil Liberties Union. I don't really need to say anything else. ACLU.org if you'd like to donate. For shout-outs, I was going to say the class of 2020. All the high school kids that are about to graduate in the next couple weeks in whatever style they're going to be able to graduate.
Absolutely. And that was one of mine too. So thanks for stealing that from me. But yeah, hopefully we can get something together for all these graduates, because I know it's something you look forward to for a long time. My other shout out would be to my buddy Pat Forbes out in Fort Mac and his fiance, who were supposed to get married this month, and I was supposed to go out, and they've decided to postpone it for a little while. So hey to you guys, and hopefully we can see you soon.
Sounds good. All right, this wraps up yet another edition, number 6 of McAndT's Sports Report. Really like to thank Patrick Watt, because I know he's our producer and he's working overtime with provincial press conferences and local news reports, and he's able to squeeze in the editing of this. So we'd like to thank him. Evan, thanks a lot. Once again, another good episode. We'll keep the Zoom going as long as they're keeping me out of the country, I guess.
Yeah, it could be a while.
All right, thanks a lot. This is Joe Ticotsky.
And I'm Evan McFarlane.
Thanks for watching McAndT's Sports Report on CHCO-TV.